Hello, everyone. I just saw Hokum, directed by Damien McCarthy, the director of Oddity, that came out a couple years ago. This film stars Adam Scott, and it was pretty good. It's not a perfect film, though. I will say that the beginning sequence and the ending sequence are pretty clunky, and honestly, I really didn't like the ending sequence that much. But I'll get into that a bit later to talk about spoilers a little bit, but to keep things spoiler free for now. I thought that what this film was going for was interesting, since horror is kind of just objectively unoriginal and it's going to be derivative in some way. You kind of have to figure out how you're going to be creative and use your cliches to make something unique. And it still kind of does the thing with supernatural horror that I don't really enjoy, where it's taking its time in some ways, which isn't really the worst thing in the world in a lot of contexts. But when it comes to supernatural entities, it seems like a lot of times, especially in this film, there's just a lot of dicking around, and I don't really know what the word is for it, but just kind of like, well, you have so many opportunities to like actually achieve the goal of what the entity wants, but no, okay, we're just gonna kind of dick around in this scenario, if you know what I mean. But I will say there are some good scares in this film. It is a jump scare heavy film, which isn't inherently a bad thing. I do complain about jump scares a lot, but there's also a lot of suspense in this film. I thought there's a lot of well done suspense sequences in the film. It is a very loud film, and I wouldn't say every single jump scare worked. There are a couple that have the non-diegetic thing used in a way that I thought was not necessary and didn't really need to be there, but I will say that this film very much has jump scares that are not diegetic, which is fine. I guess it's not always a thing that bothers me if it's just a well done jump scare, but in a couple cases it doesn't really work. I just kind of have to point those out, but there were some that really did, and I will say that this is overall a good horror film when it comes to some of the scares and how creepy overall some of the locations are and the setting. So the main character, played by Adam Scott, is a writer, and we also get to see the insides of his story that he's telling throughout his, I guess, novels that he's writing. And I don't. It was a little weird of a choice to have him be. I don't really know. It was, I guess, to maybe like go with the like arrogance factor of his character, because I mean, in the beginning of the film, I mean, he's really just an asshole. Like, he's really hard to relate to, sympathize with, or anything really. He's just kind of like a drunk lunatic in some scenes. And it's really hard to like latch on to him in any way. So it was interesting for him to be the character that we were following and to see the sequence of events that would happen later. But I did enjoy the other characters in the film. I like Jerry a lot. He was kind of a comic relief to the film. I thought that that was a necessary addition, and I thought that it worked in the film's favor. I will say that Adam Scott's character definitely grew on me as the film was going along. He wasn't a complete dick throughout the whole film. I guess he's still kind of like arrogant and weird, but as the film progressed, I started to latch onto him in terms of like the situation and what was happening overall. And yeah, I enjoyed where that went. But to talk mainly about the things I didn't really like that much, I have to go into spoilers, so with that, I'm going to give a spoiler warning right here. 3, 2, 1. So I guess just kind of a nitpick, I guess, but something that did annoy me in the film was that there's a scene where a witch character, or one of the supernatural characters, was like banging on a door, and it was like on the verge of breaking this lock, and the main character is just standing there. Like, I mean, I get it, he's trapped in a room, but dude, like, you got to move away from these doors. Like, this isn't helping your situation at all, dude. And as I alluded to in the beginning and ending, they're very disjointed from the rest of the story, and I thought that those additions were unnecessary as a whole, especially the ending. But to talk about the first one, it's a fake out death scene with, like, I guess a child like breaking a bottle over his head, and I mean, I knew they weren't gonna do it, but and it's fine since like it's like the character's like thing that he wrote, so, but still. And to talk about the ending for a second, what the fuck? The film like ends its main story just fine, I'd say. But it decides to throw in a little tacked on scene of the main character in the hospital and this bellboy character that the main character kind of humiliated and physically assaulted. And by the way, he like burnt his hand with like a burnt spoon. He like I guess goes to the hospital room to apologize to him for what happened earlier. And so what happens is the main character, he attempts to kill himself earlier in the film, which I do say I like that choice to have that in the film. And it was a big surprise. I didn't expect it to happen. And I thought that that scene was handled very well. Early on in the film, I liked where that brought him and the characters. But my point being is that basically he had like like the main character, he had like a flask in his hotel room. And so what happens is that the bellboy character, I guess, spiked his drink with mushrooms because he was mad. Like, what the fuck? Like I'm not saying that the physically assaulting him is justified or anything, but like still, you're still spiking someone's drink. Like, what? What is that doing? Why is this scene here? It was so weird. So yeah, I did not like that at all. It was honestly a really weird thing to have at the end. It kind of left a weird taste in my mouth. But I still enjoyed the majority of this film, so that's what matters. It just happens that there's a couple things like that that kind of hold it back in some ways, but I still recommend that you see it if it's still in theaters by the time this video comes out, and with that, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Yeah, so I'm back to making more videos, or trying to. That's a movie I saw in theaters recently. I'm working on my Animal Farm review right now, and after that, I will make my IFF Boston review. So that's a bigger video, obviously. Both that and the Animal Farm video are big videos, but that's just kind of the order of how things are coming out. So hopefully we'll have the Hokum review out very soon. And with that, if you like what you see, then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. There'll be a lot more videos coming soon now that I'm feeling better, finally. And with that, bye-bye. Thank you for watching.